Hello, everybody. I was just thinking about this. Whenever I made videos in the past, which where I was talking about something serious, a really serious subject that was very relevant for this time or that time when it was made, I got least views. So I would think that this is the same with pretty much everybody who uh, isn't really a famous authority on those subjects. But at the same time, when I would talk about some things about, like, you know, that were not so important, like sports, like boxing, or yeah, or whenever I was doing some kind of impressions of famous people, then all of a sudden I would get much more views. So that's something that I really am kind of thinking about right now, because that seems like nobody in this century anyway wanted to talk about or think about these really important subjects, you know, and at the same time things have just gone down further downhill, yeah, in the last 10 years. So it seems that people are constantly trying to escape these themes, but it does no good. It turns out that this has done us no good, really, because you must sooner or later you all must face the facts. Of course, that's the truth, and of course nobody likes to face the facts. Face the hard truth, but life is not about just doing things you like, right? It's the same like when you get sick, for instance, you get a serious illness, and your first reaction is no, that can't be so. I don't believe that. Few people will say right away, yes, alright, let me seek treatment, let's do, yeah, what I have to do to get better. But too often people they hide in their shell behind their, little protective shell. So what really creates even worse problems gradually. I know because I have done that in the past also, and but now I can say I'm a little bit better at facing the facts and knowing how to handle my problems, and instead of running away from them, of course. Yeah, and on the other hand, one should not really enlarge and make problems even worse than they are. There are also people who do that, who like to make too much out of something. So, yeah, but I think it's more dangerous actually to make a problem smaller than you try to make it look or be smaller than it is, less serious. That's the worst thing. Then rather than making it more serious than it actually is, because then you can at least say, all right, I was wrong. The problem is not that bad. You feel relieved, right, when you find out that you've been trying making too much of it. But this is, of course, the worst effect, that when you think that something is not that bad, and then you find out, no, oh yeah, it really is that bad. So that feeling is really terrible, of course. Yeah, so back to my original subject. I think today's this new generation, the younger generation today, isn't simply not serious enough, and they are not willing to, you know, listen to people who are older and wiser, you know. So that's, well, you might say that was also the case with my generation and some others before it, but still, this is really the worst actually. And what they do is really, I mean, they are brought up on the internet, so you know, they don't really know how it is to actually. Because of that, they are not so good at separating between the facts they find on the internet and the real facts. I mean, they are not so good at judging whether or criticizing, yeah, those the information that they find online. Because of course, there's a lot of information online that is not really correct, right? Yeah, I would say so. There's a lot of speculation, false information out there. So, but they don't know that necessarily unless they are very intelligent. Like some, only the most intelligent among them can really know that and see that. I would say, yeah, definitely. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, I mean, and that's why it happens. Like, even now with this thing that's going on over there in Ukraine, you know, there's a lot of real, like, some hideous things that are being written, a lot of false information that is put out, just put there from people who want to, like, turn everything around, like, upside down and discredit, yeah, discredit this side, which is actually defending itself, you know. Yeah, the Ukrainian, of course, side. I mean, so there's a lot. I mean, not just people from the East do that. Actually, that is the worst fact. I also seen some people from USA, even in, I don't know, UK, you know, those countries who write stuff like, you know, there are Ukrainians, this government, they are like, they are racist and neo Nazis and stuff like that. So it's pretty hard, you know, to imagine that this can be true. Of course, it's not, but yeah, it's just that there's so much BS out there. And these kids, they are basically kids 16, 17, they don't know, they are not aware of this, of course. How can they be? Because they are so young, right? So then they start believing this, and you know, then they start getting into conflicts, like maybe in school with others who have different opinions, and that's how it starts. And before you know it, you got people like 18, 19 volunteering to fight in that war, any other war, and it doesn't matter. It's not just this war. It can be any other. So that's how it all starts, you know. So yeah, I think simply anybody, and it can happen. Somebody who is already grown up, you know, an adult guy, 25, 30 years old, he finds certain sites online. They change his way of thinking. He gets more extreme. You know, he starts to buy into this stuff. And that's, I believe, how some people actually started to fight for, you know, went to Syria, fight for those guys whose name I don't want to mention really, because they are so terrible. They're such assholes, you know. But yeah, we've had quite a lot of that, you know. And especially if you are the same religion that as those, you know, dangerous extremists are, it's easier, of course, to buy into that stuff and start like partisan, becoming a partisan for that their cause. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I've been trying like for a long time now, like since 2015, I believe, to voice my opinion on various subjects. But I get a little bit disappointed when I see that hardly anybody watches those videos or listens to what I have to say, because I believe I have some good and wise things to say. Because I have seen a lot. I have been in a war, for instance, and I have seen what this propaganda and nationalism can do, and religious fervor, however you say it, fanatism. So, yeah, there's so much of it today, so much fervor, so much extreme, extremity, extremism, extreme emotions, extreme thoughts, everything extreme. And is it truly a wonder that things like this happen? Of course not. So I hope you stay well and safe. And thanks for everybody who will watch this. Thank you.